It has been 75 years since what is known as the first black superhero burst out on the scene. Let's take a walk down memory lane from 1947 to today. Number 1. Lion Man. Lion Man is the first ever black superhero to appear in an American comic. He may even be the first black comic book hero anywhere in the world. He first appeared on the scene in 1947. He was introduced in All Negro Comics issue 1. All Negro Comics was founded by former journalist Orrin Cromwell Evans. Lion Man was created by G.O.J. Evans Jr. The Tarzan-like story was based on an American college-educated scientist sent by the United Nations to watch over the fearsome Magic Mountain on the African Gold Coast. Within its crater lies the world's largest deposit of uranium, enough to make an atom bomb that could destroy the world. Lion Man's job is to report on the doings of any treacherous nation that might seek to carry away any of the lethal stuff for the purpose of war. Unfortunately, All Negro Comics ended up running for only a single issue due to the fact it cost 15 cents, which was higher than the standard 10-cent cover price for comics in the 1940s. But also the tough competition from the comic powerhouses at the time. Lion Man's powers and skills include strength, intellect, agility, and stamina. While his stamina didn't save All Negro Comics, it definitely shattered the ceiling, thus paving the way for black comic book superheroes everywhere. Number 2. Marvel's Black Panther. While Lion Man didn't withstand the test of time, our next hero showed up fierce and ready to go. It's Black Panther. First appearing in Fantastic Four issue 52 in 1966, creators Stan Lee and Jack Kirby came up with T'Challa. Lee said he conceived Black Panther with Kirby because he wanted to make the first black superhero. However, he wanted to do so without leaning into stereotypes. He said America was used to depictions of Africa as a backward and primitive place. So, Lee and Kirby gave us the exact opposite. And we are glad he did. Black Panther is one of the greatest scientists in the world and ruler and sometimes prince of the most technological advanced nation on the planet. There have been decades of confusion over whether or not there's any relationship between Marvel's Black Panther and the controversial Black Panther Party. Some assume Stan Lee and Jack Kirby swiped the name from the organization, while others will tell you the Black Panther of the comics came first. As Brian Cronin points out in a 2008 column for CBR, neither view is completely accurate. In a 2008 piece for CBR, Brian Cronin states, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale founded the Black Panther Party for self-defense in October 1966 in Oakland, California. By this time, Black Panther's first appearance in Fantastic Four, issue number 52, had already been out for the better part of the year. However, another group had the Black Panther Party name thrust upon them a year earlier. In 1965, the LCFO, a freedom organization formed in Alabama, chose a Black Panther for their party logo. The logo caused them to be known as the Black Panther Party in Alabama political circles, and the following year, Newton and Seale secured the LCFO's permission to use the Black Panther name and logo for their own organization. But whether it was influenced by the Black Liberation Movement or just a coincidence, we are truly grateful for the billion-dollar entertaining superhero. T'Challa is portrayed by the late Chadwick Boseman, who played the role while battling a terminal cancer. Rest in peace, Chadwick. Black Panther's powers include harnessing the knowledge, strength, and experience of every previous Black Panther. His other powers include super strength, enhanced senses, expert martial artist, genius-level intellect, strategist, and inventor. Also, his super cool vibranium suit gives T'Challa near indestructibility. Number 3 on our list is Black Goliath. Dr. William Foster is a superhero whose first appearance was in the Avengers issue 32 in September 1966. The character has made several video game appearances and appeared in the MCU film Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he was portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne. Dr. Foster was created by Stan Lee and Don Heck. Born in Los Angeles, California, Dr. Foster is a biochemist who worked in the Tony Stark's company in the Plans and Research Division. He gained his power through a chemical reaction known as the PIMS formula. His powers include size manipulation and super strength based on size. Number 4. Falcon. 3 years after the creation of Black Goliath, Stan Lee and Jen Colan set out to create what would be another amazing Marvel black superhero. Sam Wilson is portrayed by Anthony Mackie in the MCU. Gene Colan recalled in 2008 the creation of Falcon. In the late 1960s, when news of the Vietnam War and civil rights protests were regular occurrences, and Stan, always wanting to be at the forefront of things, started bringing these headlines into the comics. One of the biggest steps we took in the direction came in Captain America. I enjoy drawing people of every kind. I drew as many different types of people as I could into the scenes. I illustrated and loved drawing black people. I always found their features interesting and so much of their strength, spirit and wisdom written on their faces. I approached Stan, as I remember, with the idea of introducing an African American hero, and he took it right away. I looked at several African American magazines and used them as a basis of inspiration for bringing the Falcon to life. Falcon was first introduced as an unnamed former resident of Harlem in New York City. He had adopted a wild falcon which he trained and named Redwing. On page 5 of the issue, he's identified as Sam Wilson after some conflict with the supervillain the Red Skull. Steve Rogers, also known as Captain America, inspires him to pick up a costume and fight for his country. He trains with Captain America and his adventure as Falcon begins. Rumor has it that the character Sam Wilson was created after Marvel were criticized by a small New York underground newspaper in March of 1969 called the East Village Other. The East Village Other, also known as EVO, criticized them for not having adequate or enough black characters or heroes. Latimer, the writer, praised Marvel a bit, but spent most of his time knocking them into pieces. It was brought to Stan Lee's attention, and so he sent a letter to them which they published, and it read, "Dear EVO, Neil Christensen, one of our readers, was kind enough to forward to the editor Stan Lee a feature from EVO by D.A. Latimer on March 19th this year. We were particularly interested with your feature on Marvel and its dealings with the color situation. Mr. Latimer's approach, however, is such that we are concerned with the one-sided opinion your readers might have appreciated. We would remind them that comic books are unrealistic by nature, and we would not presume to have our readers believe otherwise. The Hulk is certainly not your average everyday factory worker, neither could Peter be considered a typical college student. Why then would you think T'Challa representative of a Harlem superhero? Certainly the man is educated. Many African kings, princes and leaders are Oxford taught. Why should this gentleman in any way resemble Bobby Seale? Furthermore, you implied that the Panther was a token Negro. When we became aware of the lack of Negroes in our magazines and decided to introduce them into our stories, don't you think it would have looked rather foolish to suddenly have 15 colored personalities appear and barnstorm through the books? As it is, we have T'Challa the Panther, Joe Robertson and his son, Willie Lincoln, Sam Wilson, Gabe Jones, Dr. Noah Black, and even a supervillain, the Man-Ape. In short, we think that we have approached a decent start with these characters. In any case, sir, our primary reason in writing was to request a few copies of the issue in which this article appeared for our files. This rumor was swiftly kicked to the curb. This was due to the fact that Sam Wilson the Falcon made his debut in Captain America issue 117 in June 1969, which means the issue was likely produced immediately after Latimer's essay was published. This is highly unlikely, as it's not possible. Also, Stan Lee had previously introduced the Falcon in a talk titled Comics as a Reflection of Contemporary Culture at Duke University in 1969. Who knew so much drama went on behind the scenes in the creation of some of our favorite heroes? Falcon's powers and skills include expert bird trainer, empathic and telepathic link with all birds, advanced hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, aerialist acrobat, flight with the suit, and tactical strategizing. Number 5. Power Man. Better known as Luke Cage, this superhero was created by 4 creators: Archie Goodwin, George Tusker, Roy Thomas, and John Romita Sr. Power Man made his first appearance in the Marvel comic book Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, issue 1 in 1972. Portrayed by Mike Colter in the highly rated Netflix live-action TV show Luke Cage, he was one of the first black superheroes to be featured as the protagonist and title character of a Marvel comic book. He was created during the height of the blaxploitation genre. the president of the Beverly Hills NAACP branch. He so named it because he claimed the genre was proliferating offenses to the black community in its portrayal of stereotypical characters often involved in criminal activity. The target audience for the blaxploitation film was the black community. But the genre's audience soon expanded as Hollywood realized the potential profit to be made by expanding the audience across racial lines. Luke Cage had been in prison for a crime he did not commit, and while in prison was subject to voluntary experimental procedures. These procedures gave him his powers and skills. He becomes a hero for hire and has about 49 issues of solo adventures. The character has been substantially adapted from the comics into various forms of media. As blaxploitation popularity faded, Cage was paired with the superhero Iron Fist, whose popularity was based on the declining martial arts film genre, in an effort to save both characters from cancellation. The series title remained Power Man. This changed with issue 50 in April 1978, where the trademark cover title became Power Man and Iron Fist. The series was cancelled in 1986 with issue number 156. Christopher Priest attempted to get rid of the blaxploitation route by giving him a larger vocabulary and reducing the use of his catchphrase, Sweet Christmas. Luke Cage was rated the 34th greatest superhero of all time by Wizard magazine. This placed him as the highest ranking black hero in that survey. Luke Cage's powers and skills include super strength, unbreakable skin, hand-to-hand combat, and accelerated healing. Number 6. Green Lantern. The first DC comic black superhero on our list is Jon Stewart's version of Green Lantern. The character was created by Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams and first appeared in Green Lantern issue number 87 in January 1972. The character's initial design was based on the late-great Sidney Poitier, who was the first black man to ever win the Academy Award for Best Actor. The decision to make the character black resulted from a conversation between Adams and editor Julius Schwartz. In this conversation, Adams recounts saying that, given the racial makeup of the world's population, we ought to have a black Green Lantern. Not because we're liberals, but because it just makes sense. The character was DC's second black superhero. Its first black superhero was Black Lightning. Jon became a major recurring character in the Green Lantern world in the DC universe. He became the primary character of Green Lantern when Hal Jordan, who is also a Green Lantern, relinquished his place in the Green Lantern Corps, which is an intergalactic, militarized law enforcement organization. Ryan Reynolds portrayed Hal Jordan in the not-so-great Green Lantern live-action movie. We thank God for Deadpool. Jon Stewart was featured as one of the lead characters in the television cartoon series Justice League from 2001 until 2004. He continued to appear as a major character on the show's 2004 to 2006 sequel Justice League Unlimited. In 2011, Jon Stewart starred in the new 52 relaunch of Green Lantern Corps alongside Guy Gardner, and became the sole lead character of the title from 2013 until the series' conclusion in 2015. Green Lantern Corps was replaced by Green Lantern The Lost Army, which also stars Jon Stewart as the lead. Jon's powers include a power ring, flight, creates objects out of light, generates force fields, and translates all languages. Number 7. Storm. The first female superhero, or should I say She-Ra, is the X-Men Storm, also known as Aurora Monroe, one of the most powerful individuals in the Marvel Universe. She has captivated our minds and hearts with her theatrical and proverbial speeches.
Lightning, deliver this place from darkness! Storm, mistress of the elements, commands you to release that child. Lighten up on the speeches, sugar.
She was created by the late Len Wein and artist Dave Cockrum. She made her first appearance in Giant Size X-Men issue 1, 1975. Descended from a long line of African witches, Storm is the member of the fictional subhuman species known as mutants. Born to a Kenyan tribal princess and an African-American father, Storm was raised in Harlem, New York City, before later relocating to Cairo, Egypt. In Cairo, after the death of her parents following an Arab-Israeli conflict, an incident occurred which left her traumatized with claustrophobia for the rest of her life. Growing up on the streets of Cairo, Storm becomes a master pickpocket, which is how she meets Professor X, leader of the Uncanny X-Men. In Len Wayne's writing, Storm doesn't join Xavier because he white saviors her from a mob. She joins the X-Men after Professor X begs for her help. She joins the X-Men and rises to second in command. Storm is one of the more prominent characters of the X-Men series. The character was first portrayed by Halle Berry in the 2000 film X-Men and its follow-up sequels. Alexandra Shipp then took on the role as a young Storm in the 2016 X-Men Apocalypse in Dark Phoenix. In 2011, Storm was ranked 42nd overall on IGN's Top 100 Comic Book Heroes list. Storm's powers include weather manipulation on Earth and other planets, including earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, flight, breathing underwater, telepathic resistance, can survive extreme weather conditions, night vision, magic, and an empathic link with the Earth and all living things. Oh, and did I mention godhood? Number 8. Nubia. While Storm is recognized as Marvel's first black heroine, in the DC comic book universe, the title goes to Nubia. Created by Robert Kanigher and Don Heck in January 1973 and first appearing in Wonder Woman issue 204, she is commonly identified as an ally of Wonder Woman or an analog of her. At one point, she was even considered Wonder Woman's twin sister. In some parallel universes, she's considered the Wonder Woman herself. Unlike on Paradise Island, where Wonder Woman lives with a bunch of stunning Amazons, where she rules over an island of men. She has been challenged for the title of ruler by some of the men and has always come out victorious. The actress Theresa Graves was to play Nubia in ABC's 1975 television series Wonder Woman, but the show was moved to CBS before the character could appear. That same year, the Mega Corporation produced a Nubia doll to tie in with the show, advertised as Wonder Woman's super foe, wearing a gladiator-style costume which resembled a uniform Nubia wore in the comic books. Nubia's powers and skills include flight, super strength, speed, cold sight, magic armor, and able to open portals. Nubia also possesses a magic sword created by Mars, which was the only weapon that could go against Wonder Woman's lasso. Lastly, she could heal herself by becoming one with the Earth's soil and then reforming her body. Number 9. Blade. Known as the savior of the Marvel Empire due to the release of the successful live-action movie and its sequels in the 90s, Eric Cross Brooks, portrayed by Wesley Snipes in the live-action movie, is the half-human, half-vampire hero. When he isn't saving entire comic book empires, he's usually slaying vampires. Blade was created by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, first appearing in the Tomb of Dracula issue number 1 in 1973. He started off as a supporting character but then went on to star in his own storylines. Eric Cross Brooks was born in a brothel in the Soho neighbourhood of London in 1929 to Tara Vanessa Cross Brooks, an heiress seeking sanctuary with Madame Vanity, an agent of the Order of Tirana. When Tara experienced severe labour complications, a doctor called. In actuality, the doctor was the vampire Deacon Frost, who killed Tara by drinking all of her blood. However, this accidentally passed along certain vampire enzymes to her baby son as he was born. Eric therefore became part vampire, preventing him from being turned by a vampire's bite. The character has gone on to be more than just comic books and movies, but also TV shows and video games. In 2021, it was confirmed that Mahershala Ali would be cast as the character moving forward in the MCU, debuting with an uncredited vocal cameo in the 2021 film Eternals. Filming is expected to start in July of 2022 and we're all definitely here for it. Blade's skills include master martial artist, swordman, and marksman. His powers include super strength and speed, enhanced senses, regenerative healing, immunity to vampires, decelerated aging, and the ability to sense supernatural creatures. Number 10. Dr. Voodoo. Created by Len Wein and Gene Colan, Dr. Voodoo made his first appearance in Strange Tales issue number 169 in 1973. Birth name Jericho Drum. This not-so-popular Haitian Marvel character is gradually becoming a more prominent name in the Marvel Universe, especially since replacing Doctor Strange as Sorcerer Supreme in the New Avengers issue 53, 2009. Marvel Comics publisher Stan Lee proposed a heroic practitioner of voodoo and black magic, and when editor-in-chief Roy Thomas suggested the name Dr. Voodoo, Lee rebounded with the suggestion Brother Voodoo. The task of fleshing out the character was then assigned to writer Len Wein and Marvel's art director John Romita Sr. Other than an abandoned project set up in 2003 by the Sci-Fi Channel, there hasn't really been much in terms of a live-action movie or TV series. He hasn't ever been seen in any animations either. Maybe this could be a good time for Marvel to release him into the wider world as fans are yearning for new material. Dr. Voodoo was originally known as Brother Voodoo, but after replacing Doctor Strange, he substituted the brother for Doctor. Dr. Voodoo's powers and skills include magical mastery, which include teleportation, transmutation, time manipulation, intangibility, flight, and holographic projection. Also, enhanced healing, energy resistance, energy projection, force field creation, animal manipulation, control of the elements, possession, necromancy, telekinesis, telepathy, and soul manipulation. Number 11. Misty Knight. Within the context of the Marvel Universe, Mercedes Misty Knight is a former NYPD police officer whose arm was amputated following a bomb attack. After receiving a bionic prosthetic arm from Tony Stark, she started a private investigation agency with close friend Pauline Wing. The two would later form the crime-fighting duo Daughters of the Dragon. As private investigators, Knight and Wing frequently worked with the Heroes for Hire duo Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Knight is often seen in a romantic relationship with the latter. Created in 1975 by Tony Isabella and A. Jones, Misty was roommates with the X-Men's Jean Grey. Her powers and skills include martial arts, a bionic arm that gives her near-perfect aim, super strength, technopath, can control magnets, and emit concussive blasts. Stay tuned for part 2 of a chronological look at amazing black superheroes. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon!